Welcome back to STL Live. I'm Sarah Thompson, and we're learning about summer activity options with Blueprint for Summer STL with Maxine and Allie Cicotte. Thank you both again for being here. So Allie, I want to kind of pick back up on you about this whole thing, this correlation between summer learning loss and achievement gap. You alluded to it, and I know that I've read some stuff about a Johns Hopkins University study, and there's other studies, but could you remind us about what that is when you don't have students doing anything for the summer, how it affects them during the school year?
Sure. Well, I think gone are the days when we just assumed that summer break was literally that, a break. But now we really understand the importance of what happens in the summer, still continuing that learning for students throughout the school year. And so school year is really important, but it doesn't meet the entire year for a student. And so what we know happens in those summer months is that students that aren't engaged in something meaningful, they lose skills. But what we also know is that there's also research that shows that students that are engaged in anything meaningful over the summer, even if it's not academic, that they even show increased gains in their academics during the school year. That's because they're engaged in something meaningful. They've found a passion. They've discovered some problem-solving skills or creativity, all things that summer camps can provide in the region. And so we work closely with school partners to make sure that families are aware of all of the resources available outside of school.
Well, let's talk about that, working with schools and partnerships. You work with some of the school districts, correct?
Right. We make sure that all the school districts know that what we're doing, and they can distribute the information to families, whether it's through a newsletter or for flyers we'll give them, posters that are in the schools, billboards around St. Louis, buses, so that wherever you go, you're getting in the summer mood, and you're getting to know that St. Louis stands for great summer activities for kids.
Well, what I love about it is my husband and I just went through this with our kids, and you sort of sit down and you just start typing in names of what's nearby you or places that you know that you do. And what I love about this is, as you said, you go to the website, you have the app, and you just enter your information, and it gives you all these options, 9,000 options. I noticed one thing when I was on the site that I did want to bring up is college prep, and could you talk a bit about that and how that's a little bit different from what might be for elementary age?
Well, that was another thing we learned from the students that engaged with our platform, is that when they get to high school, they don't really want to go to summer camps anymore. They're either going to go and get summer jobs, or they want to go and do a program at a college. And we knew that St. Louis universities had these programs, but we didn't know was that so many colleges around the country want to welcome potential college students from all over the country, because that's how they lure them there. And so they offer scholarships and programs in music and art and engineering and science all over the country. And there's thousands of those on our website as well. And those college counselors can access, parents can access them, students can access them. But they're also a good way to know whether you like that school or not. You're going to spend some time there to find out whether that's a place for you, whether college at all is a place for you. But it's a great sort of introductory way.
No, that's a great point, just to even be on a campus and to get a feel for what the campuses are like. You mentioned cost, and I think that's the one thing that we've left out, saved it for last. Summer camps are expensive. I mean, there's no other way to put it, and it clearly is. If you have that disposable income to send your kids to a tech camp, you can do that. Talk about the role of scholarships as it relates to Blueprint for Summer STL.
One of the things we recognized when we first started on this with the 3,500 camps in year 1, and this is year 5, is that there were a lot of camps that were pricey. And that if you had multiple children, even in a wealthy family, it would be a pretty big price tag. And so we found that many of these camps did offer scholarships, but they weren't necessarily reaching out to kids all over St. Louis. And so we brought that to them. We brought many more kids to them, and many more kids that needed the access to the camp and the money. And then when a camp put out money, we also matched them with money. So in the last few years, we've put out about $225,000, and this year we're going to do another $100,000 worth of scholarships for summer camps, focusing particularly on summer camps that have STEAM programs. And that could be a sports camp too, because physics is a part of hitting that basketball or hitting that baseball or kicking that ball in soccer. There's lots of ways to incorporate STEAM, and actually we worked with a program at Washington University to educate camp counselors, all camps, how to incorporate summer of STEAM into their art camp, music camp. Any way you look at it, there's a way to bring that together. And then we're building a workforce for the future at the same time.
That's great. And for the scholarships, is that something that people apply for directly on the site or through the camp
itself? No, through the camps.
Okay.
And then the camps, we work with them, and we give them the money, and they tell us who the student is, and we work together to make sure that it's smooth for the parents.
Yeah, no, well, thank you for clarifying that. And we've got information there for you on the screen. Go check it out. It's blueprint4summer.com. There are almost 9,000 camp options that you can find out about by just being on the site. It'll help you figure out what you're trying to do for your kids this summer. And as we've been talking about today, there's also options for scholarships for those that might seem that the pricing is pretty high. You can go again to that website to get that information. All right, well, there's more STL Live right after this. Please stay with us.